So Donald Trump and his administration continue their attacks on America as now they're ramping up the numbers of people they want to lay off. I want to go over this and other things, and let's jump right in. So first, this is the headline here. White House shutdown, layoffs will be north of 10,000. And that's coming from Russ Vought, one of Trump's people, Project 2025 guy. And basically, again, they just want to fire as many people as they possibly can. This is what it says. Around 4,000 federal employees have already been laid off, according to court filings, but the budget chief predicted we will probably end up north of 10,000. We want to be very aggressive where we can, be in a shuttering bureaucracy, not just funding, but the bureaucracy. And we have an opportunity to do that, right? So they keep using the word opportunity. This is according to them, their big chance to fire as many people as they can. And he's doing this on the Charlie Kirk show. The way that they're doing it is there are people who support Trump and they think, oh, well, it doesn't affect me. It's only affecting the blue states. So therefore it's great. Fire as many people as you possibly can. And that's been Trump's strategy here. This came out yesterday. Trump targets Democratic districts by halting billions during shutdown. So you're looking to fire as many people as you can. And then basically, this would be like congressionally approved money. So yes, all this stuff is illegal, just so you know. But Trump does a lot of things that are legal. So you just kind of take that as a given these days. But essentially what they're doing is they're targeting as many federal workers as they can to fire. And they're targeting blue districts. It's frustrating to go through this stuff all the time because it's like, how long can you do this stuff before people just like, hey, stop. But that's what I'm saying is they're specifically targeting certain areas. And so I guess their base is cheering it on, but ultimately it's going to come back to bite everyone as we're all connected. You know, if you cut funding in, say, one state, then you're not going to get those people, say, sending money to relatives in other states or traveling to other states, or business can be done all throughout the country since it's all integrated. Right? We're all connected, you know? Yes, it's stuff they're doing is illegal, and a judge actually just stepped in right now, like just a few minutes ago. Judge blocks Trump's shutdown layoffs, calling them illegal. It's coming from a judge. Let me read this. And that's what it says. It says a federal judge on Wednesday granted a temporary restraining order blocking the Trump administration from laying off federal workers during the government shutdown, which is now stretched to 2 weeks. They just did another vote. So we're still shut down. I think we're day 15, something like that. And as the headline says here, right, Senate rejects funding bill with no end in sight. The two parties are at an impasse at the moment here. Two unions sued the Trump administration last month ahead of the shutdown after the White House signaled to plan to lay off workers through, they're calling it RIF, or reduction in force. At a hearing on Wednesday, a federal judge in Northern District, California, granted unions' motion to issue temporary restraining order preventing the layoffs, right, which began Friday. Here's the quote from the judge. The activities that are being undertaken here are contrary to the laws. You can't do this in a nation of laws. And honestly, I hope so. I mean, this has probably been the most stressful thing, and I think a lot of people feel the same, is how is anyone letting Trump get away with all of this illegal actions, right? Any one of these scandals that Trump has done would normally end a person's career. I'll give you an example. It was just yesterday. I was telling my wife about the thing that Trump said, how some sort of private individual that was, according to Trump, it was going to pay the military. That's from like Trump's words. And my wife was like saying, you know, if you even suggested that, you know, here in Korea, you'd instantly be out of office. This idea that, you know, you're going to have some sort of private person start giving government people money in that kind of way, you just, that's the end of your career. But it's crazy how we've gotten to this point. Like even something like this, I don't think this would be very popular in any country, really. If someone's like, hey, I'm going to fire 10,000 people, it's not popular at a company. It's not popular in any sort of government. There would be mass protests usually. You guys know this kind of stuff. And then, like I said, the way that they're doing it, though, is they're saying, hey, we're only going to do it in certain parts, and I guess it affects some of you, but not all of you, and then therefore you should go along with it as long as we hurt the other side. I think all this stuff is unsustainable, though, and then the judge is like, this is all illegal, but this is sort of where we're at. And then on top of that, when they're saying, hey, we got to make cuts because we don't have enough money, I guess we're raising money for Argentina yet more. This was from the Wall Street Journal today. U.S. arranges $20 billion private finance facility for Argentina. Now, if you're like, well, Chris, we already heard about the $20 billion. What do you mean? No, seriously, this is actually more. Besant says U.S. considers doubling aid to Argentina to $40 billion, right? We're talking about yet more money. I really don't know. I mean, I know you're probably like, what? WTF, I'm sure people are thinking that. One way you could look at it is, are we trying to buy rare earth materials down in Argentina? Is that our ultimate plan here? Is Trump trying to basically set up his retirement home in Argentina? Because that's where a lot of people go, say after you're part of a mustache party in the 1930s, right? You run off to Argentina. Your guess is as good as mine on this. I'm just giving you a couple ideas here, but I just don't, in my lifetime, I just haven't seen anything like this. Just in this way, you have layoffs, plus trying to incite violence among Americans, and then we're bailing out other countries. And then also, too, we're doing illegal wars here. This was in the New York Times today. Says Trump administration authorizes covert CIA action in Venezuela. I know nothing's surprising anymore, but it's still disturbing, and you still need to know about it. Because, again, this comes at a time when from the American perspective, basically the American government is, deficit spending, and they keep basically signaling that they're broke. And so then therefore they have to make cuts and do all these drastic moves. But then magically, I guess out of thin air, we have money for legal wars in Venezuela. The basic gist of it is that the Trump people have authorized CIA for use of lethal force, right? So normally the CIA would just be intel gathering or working with other groups, but not necessarily like directly into lethal force. And I think that's the big change here. And it's looking I read through everything. It's looking like maybe Trump wants to do some sort of regime change, and I guess taking over Argentina. I really don't know. I'm telling you the truth. I really don't know. I read through all this stuff and I'm just like, what is going on? And this is all during the shutdown, right? So I guess the plan is keep things shut down as long as possible, and then Trump and his people to move forward with firing as many people as possible. So there's just no longer any watchdogs for anything. I think that's what's going on, just to be perfectly frank. There's so much to cover. It's hard to go over everything. And then Besant was given a speech talking about how they're basically they were accusing China of like, oh, China is against the world, and we don't want to disconnect from China, but if we have to, we will. We're about de-risking, and it's kind of weird. A lot of the stuff they say is weird, and I know I'm covering a lot, but it just feels like as a whole, when you look at all the stuff that Trump is doing, honestly, they're just looking to create a system where the richest people will survive, and the rest, good luck. I think that's what it ends up being. It's just, at the end of the day, in the most simplest terms. But this is what it says here. U.S. warns world will decouple from China if it imposes new export controls. And then you have this other thing, which, again, none of this is surprising under Trump, but I just do want to raise awareness. This is an actual headline. Trump considers overhaul of refugee system that would favor white people. No, seriously, this is actually the story. I know. It sounds so stupid, but I mean, is anything surprising anymore? And if you're curious what the system is, let me read it with you. It says here, the Trump administration is considering a radical overhaul of the U.S. refugee system that would slash programs to its bare bones while giving preference to English speakers, white South Africans, and Europeans who oppose migration, according to documents. So, of course they are. I mean, nothing really shocking here, but you just need to point out what they're doing. And when you look at who their spokespeople are, I just want you to see who they are. So this is Stephen Miller, and they're talking about how I guess we have to fight Chicago, and we have to fight Venezuela, and we just got to fight everyone that we possibly can. If you are familiar with dystopian type of literature, basically in that type of government, again, the richest people, the corporation, and the oligarchs control everything. Everyone else is basically worker bee, and then you have to keep pushing out these messages that there's an eternal enemy that you have to fight. And then if you have to fight someone, therefore you have to fund, private prisons and your private militaries and all this kind of stuff, right? You get people focusing on some enemy you have to attack. So therefore, you don't ever question, your dear leader Trump. That's what it ends up being. And, and then you're saying, hey, we're only going to let white people in the country. And then when you look at the White House media, I'll just be frank with you guys. I'll just show you from the pictures. You can see they tend to pick people who look all literally the same way and tell you that they're all the heroes. Seriously. This is 3 different people that are involved in the Trump administration. It's just like, it's so blatantly obvious. That's why the headline from the New York Times is so ridiculous. But, that's where we're at right now. Trump then comments about his people. This is on Karen Levitt, which is a really weird, he has a lot of weird things, but he'll say, Carolyn will never be replaced. Those lips move like a machine gun. I'll let you guys be the judge of that. I guess we need a special sort of, translation service to translate what Trump is saying. It's so stupid. And I got to make jokes sometimes because I know things can be tough. And then you have this, and this is just part of just practicality. During the situation to where when Trump wants to fire as many people as possible, you get these kind of headlines. I'll just go through it. It says 4 phone calls furloughed workers can't afford to skip during the shutdown. Basically, if you're in a tough spot right now, contact your lender, be it mortgage or car loan or whatever, and let them know that you're part of the government shutdown. Contact your state unemployment office, and reach out to services around you that may be available to help, or nonprofit credit counselors, these kind of things. I know it's not fun to talk about this stuff, but it is just out of practicality. I can't control, who the Trump people are going to try to lay off. I can't control what the courts are doing. I'll just say this. I don't think everyone is crazy in the USA. I hope not. I get frustrated as the same as anyone else. I think the most frustrating stuff, though, is when the people the Trumpies, in the red states, whatever, when they think they're isolated and going to be disconnected from people in the blue states. That's what it boils down to. That's why I showed you this one chart to where, you're going after blue states here or you're sicking the, National Guard against, blue cities, these kind of things. And people on Fox News, they're just like promoting, oh yeah, attack Chicago. Oh yeah, attack Boston. Oh, go get those naked people in Portland. It's like, what? And it's such a weird thing, but it's been building up like this for a while, unfortunately. And honestly, it's a lot of Fox News stuff. I'm just being frank with you guys. I see it. I see what they're doing, and it's sad. It's really sad. And ultimately, though, these layoffs, and it's not just layoffs, any number of things, it's going to come back to bite you. Say, for example, the legal war in Venezuela, all that money we're spending on to do whatever Trump wants to do with Venezuela or say with Argentina, that money could actually be used in the USA to improve education, to improve your healthcare, to improve your transportation, to improve your housing situations. Any number of things could be used to help the American people. But, again, we're focused on putting money into Trump's pocket. And that's all it ends up being at the end of the day. So I just want to let you guys know what's going on. I do appreciate your time. Be careful out there, please. And I'll catch you all in the next video.